And welcome to a new week, the 15th day in the month of July 2024. I think we're approaching summer, right? It rained, or it's raining as we speak. There's something called the August break. I can't wait to experience the August break. And then, parents, what are you planning for the kids? It's going to be a long holiday. What activities do you have up? Are you going to send them to their grandparents? Are you going to find a way to maximize time with them this holiday period, ensure they get enough rest? Are you going to send them off to one lesson or the other just so that they don't encroach? Are they encroachments really? But you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's that time of the year again. Between this week and the end of the month, a lot of graduation parties and all of that, and a lot of transitioning from one class to another and preparing for September. It's going to be a whole lot. So brace up for it. My name is Denise Dennis Wall. How's your mind? How's your body? And how is your soul? Now we have to go on a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll start what's on the menu in full. Stay tuned to us.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the sunny side of life. Your job versus your boss. Or would I say your boss versus your job? What do you think when you hear the phrase choose a boss, not a job? Beyond getting a job, most people dread working with a terrible boss, no matter the pay package or benefits attached. And when we look at the word terrible, it could be anything from a boss who doesn't take the business seriously, to a boss who is cranky, to a boss who is comfortable at their current level, doesn't dream big, no New Year goals, no, what's it called now? No quarterly goals, no nothing. You're just showing up at work. Good morning, sir. He's not boosting your morale. He's not motivating. To a boss who is dubious. Yes. Ever been with a dubious boss? Like, this guy is engaged in shady stuff. So this guy is into some sort of inflation practice. What that means is, what this price is out there, but you work for somebody who would hoard products and then give it out at a far, far higher amount when the product is seemingly scarce in the market, to a boss who manipulates numbers, to a boss who does something like this, gets a bag of rice that is usually supposed to contain, let's say, 13 to 14 custard rubbers, and the person is removing like one rubber, and before you know it, another bag. Think about how a boss can be termed terrible. From lazy, nonchalant, not showing up at work, not keeping tabs, not checking on the business, not doing things to enable the business, not releasing money for supplies, think of anything. To a boss who is even asking you out. So, terrible could be any kind of terrible. Since the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted workplaces worldwide, there's been a greater push for improved work-life balance in some advanced countries, and many companies are taking notice. The exciting thing is that when companies become more flexible, the companies in this case would be the owners, the bosses, the orgas. When they become more flexible, their employees become happier and more productive. But is it always the case? Now, a particular CEO shared something, and this something the CEO shared was applauded by a lot of people. These days I've been reading a lot of articles about, CEOs, work-life balance, employer-employer relationships. So please, a lot of my conversations will usually stem from knowledge gotten from these articles and researches. So yes, back to the CEO I was talking about. Rob Dans, the CEO of Rock, a technology consulting company in the UK, recently went viral for posting about his approach to work-life balance on Instagram. What at first appeared to be a CEO reprimanding his employees revealed a boss who knows how to get the best out of his team by treating them like adults. Now, let me ask this on a lighter note. Does your boss treat you like an adult, or should I mind my business? So this is what he said. Things I am sick of hearing from my employees. And by the way, he wrote this on a whiteboard, and he held the whiteboard and took a picture and posted the picture. So things I'm sick of hearing from my employees. Can I leave early today? I'll be late in the morning. My child is sick. Can I rush off? I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Is that okay? I'm going to be late back from lunch. I've got some things to sort out. I don't care. I hired you for a job, and I fully trust you to get it done. I don't need you to account for every single hour. And then he goes on to say, times have changed, and the workplace is different these days. People are sick of being treated like children. All that matters is that everyone is happy, and then the work gets done. He also shared his advice for companies on how to treat their employees. And this is his words. Treat your staff like adults. That's it. That's the big secret. Give them autonomy. Reminds me of local government autonomy. Anyway, respect that they have lives outside of work. Don't gaslight them into being grateful for not being fired every day. Do you always get scared that you'll be fired the next day? Are you always on your toes? Are you always walking on eggshells around your workplace? Hey, Madame Decor. No, the one where she go take fire me. Oh, Chimo. Oh. Is it always like that for you? Back to what he said. Don't gaslight them into being grateful for not being fired every day. Because in the end, the only thing that matters is if they get the job done. Output should always trump hours. Output should always trump hours. But it may not be the same in Nigeria. That is the UK. This is Nigeria, where you have bosses who would most likely want to see you every now and then on your decks. And that is why most times you will see some employees forming busy. Always on their desks doing like this. Just watch me. Something like that. Nothing. They probably are doing something else, but what do I know? Oga has to see that I am working. I beg. Oga gas no say I dey work or something of that nature. So you do that. Or you're always carrying file up and down. So when you show up at work by maybe 8:30 or 7 o'clock, at every hour, even during your lunch time, you want to act like you're working. But are you really getting the job done? And there's also the part that many bosses don't trust their employees and keep extremely close tabs on them because of past experiences and a desire to control. Does this ring a bell? Your office probably has a camera facing you. I can have a camera facing me now. I don't know if my PM doesn't trust me though. But there's a camera watching you. So your boss in his office is watching every employee to be sure that they are always on their decks. And it's not a matter of them being on their decks. It's also a matter of them doing something. So there is the camera facing their computer screen to be sure that they are doing the things they are supposed to do. I mean, how do you control people like that? They might believe that micromanaging ensures productivity and prevents issues. Additionally, the pressure to meet business targets can drive some bosses to monitor employees, obsessively thinking it will lead to better outcomes or probably productivity. This approach, however, only undermines trust and destroys morale in the workplace. It creates a toxic environment where employees feel undervalued and stressed, leading to higher turnover rates and decreased overall performance. So instead of fostering a culture of accountability and growth, this behavior only promotes fear and resentment. Mind you, this is a boss in the UK. Let's come home to Nigeria, shall we? You work in the private sector. You work in the civil service. You work in one public office. Maybe not a white-collar job, blue-collar job, but any kind of job you can possibly think of. From a sales rep, to a marketer, to a cashier, to a shop attendant, to an accountant, to a teacher, to an admin, to a manager. Any position you can possibly think of. Does your boss's nature and attitude towards you determine how well you do your job? Now back to the first question I asked, if you had ever thought about it, if you had ever thought about that phrase, choose a boss and not a job. Did you think about it? Have you thought about it? Now let's hear from you. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. Once again, 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. WhatsApp and Telegram number is 0809 030 6416. Again, 0809 030 6416. On X, we are at Nigeria Info PH, and Facebook page remains Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Now, for some reason, we'll get the engineers to check on this. I'm not able to see your screen calls. However, I can take call on this other number. I'm going to call it now, 0817 923 0009. Once again, 0817 923 0009. So while the screen calls are being sorted, I can start taking your calls from this other alternative number, 0817 923 0009. Alright, Nigerian Info, good afternoon to you and welcome. So sorry we lost our call. Why am I seeing comments from Jude's? Didn't through. In fact, I don't tire is an understatement. I don't have time to start with the pay. I don't have time to start with. The pay is nothing to write home about. May God help us. You know, my brother Davidson, I would need a name. I would need you to list out a lot of the things that you are currently going through at your place of work. Someone says there's a sound coming through the radio that like a phone is being dialed. The sound you hear when making a phone call is persistent. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I said I was going to apologize about that. In order to bring you the very best of the very best, we are undergoing a lot of maintenance at the moment. And those maintenance will come with their disturbances here and there. But please do bear with us. Please do bear with us. We apologize. Nigerian Info, good afternoon to you and welcome.
Yeah, this square, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, how are you doing?
Yes, I get Mr. Zion from Boston.
Mrs. Zion, you're welcome.
Set the record straight. Let me use this medium to appreciate all the good bosses, the madams and the oga in our climb. Thank you very much. Some of them have so built a relationship with their staff or those they employ to work with them to a point that you don't even know who is who. They relate too well. They don't subject their staff to unnecessary pressure. Thank you very much. So the discourse, you said a caveat and you repeated it. This is Nigeria, oh no. That one now. You see the problem now? So our environment has a serious problem. And in this environment, we need a lot to do it when it comes to sincerity of purpose. Some boss make their workspace so toxic for their staff. Employer-employees relationship is less than 20%. The moment the boss is around, you see this fragility in the body of the staff. You see this unnecessary tension. Some of it have even conjured most of the staff to become so sycophant in nature. Whenever the boss is around, you see this eye service thing. Don't move this one, touch this one. Before a guy will say A, they have said B. Eye service because of the kind of boss. And you see that the torture most of the staff go through. Have you done this? Where is the document? Who is moving this logistic? This shout and cause this staff to go through BP, even in the office. Some of them take a sigh of relief whenever say work don't close. But the moment they are coming back the next morning, they are not happy. And that has affected productivity in most offices. Most of them are just out for do now, make they manage the salary until better thing come out. That is what is in their mind. So for the benefit of this discourse, you engage Mr. Zion to work for you. I am not a slave. Sure, you have employed me. Before you engage me, I went through your screening processes. Can you allow me to do my job without supervision? Can you just wait at the other end to receive the end product of the assignment you gave to me? Or periodically, like you said, you put camera on my face, you send people to monitor me. I become so uncomfortable. And we to the staff, to some of us, that we get problem. Honestly speaking, if you give most of those staff those leverages, my sister, I go come back to your office, nothing they don't do.
Exactly the question I was about to ask you, because you are tough. No, this is not funny. You are tough is a problem. You say, okay, you want to turn things down. You want to be the boss who walks into the office. Hey, how you doing today? How's your son? Oh, some bosses know their staff's children by their first names. How is your mother? Some bosses know their employees' mothers. And by the time that relationship is created, before you know it, the person will come whenever the person likes.
Don't misbehave for office.
The person starts misbehaving. Or let's say the boss is not nice. The boss is just the I don't care kind of boss. So the boss set up the business quite all right. Recruited intelligent people that will probably help run the business. But the boss doesn't even know jack. I mean, imagine setting up a tech firm when you are clueless as to what tech is all about. So who is going to supervise who? Who ensures that the staff members are keeping up with the tech trends?
That is why we always focus on our environment. So we, the people in Nigeria, who are we? There are some companies you don't even know who is the boss. The boss only deal with his foreign clients. Sending down the product to his office here in Nigeria. And the manager is there, supervisor is there. In some environment, if you give them the leverage, they no go balance your account to 20 million don't come over the week. Who come out this money question don't come? EFCCO, ICPCO, they don't know where the money go. So to a large extent, we as a black, we need to work on ourselves. So that whenever studies are carried out, let this study be a general application as 1 + 1 is 2, generally accepted in the whole world. Can it be accepted here in our work environment?
Okay.
Mr. Zion.
Thank you, Mr. Zion. Danny Atta on Facebook, this is from the pre-sale. My job and not my boss. Because my boss can be replaced or changed. But when I do my work diligently, I will stay longer. As far as I'm hardworking and consistent in doing my duties. Also, it depends on the type of job you're doing. Is it a private or public job? However, if it is abroad, what matters is your job, how good you are in it, not your boss. Except the boss is a sadist who wants to feel like your life and future career is in their hands, which is not. Daniata from Port Harcourt. Al-Hassan Danladi says, my job, that is what pays my bills. Excuse me, your boss pays it. Isn't it your boss that pays your salary? Yes, you're doing the job because the boss created room for you to get employed. But if you say it is your job that pays your bills, that's fine. Martin Shibu says, some bosses are wicked. You will work for them when it's time to pay. They will put an allegation on you that something is missing just to deduct your payment or even seize your money. I'm Ken from Port Harcourt. Talking about terrible bosses. They come in all shapes, sizes, forms, and scenarios. But then again, productivity at the end of the day. Now, beyond making ends meet, salary, benefits, HMOs, leave allowances, and all these other things that come with that job, is you, the individual, doing the job. For some of us, we just need a job because we need to make money legitimately, right? For others, we need a job because that job only is part of the journey. Our career growth, our career prospects, our personal development. That job is just one out of so many. So the fact that you see us here today doing this doesn't mean this is what we want to do or intend to do forever. So you see, it's a growth. It's like what's it called? It's a graph. We're trying to plot a graph around our life, our career life, our career path. So there are the highs and the lows. And then maybe at some point we'll get to equilibrium, quite all right. So there is that worker who things around the office would affect in a different way from you who just shows up at work because at the end of the month you will get alert, credited. Your salary, it don't show. Think about it. So your boss or your job, their nature, their attitude, does it affect your input? Does it affect your level of productivity? Does it affect how well you do the job? Nigerian Info, good afternoon to you and welcome.
Good afternoon, presenter.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Justice is my name.
What did you say?
Justice.
Oh,
My
Justice. Justice, welcome. Thank you for joining us, Justice.
name- Yes, calling you from Omudioga.
Justice from Omudioga.
Yes. Okay, on issue at hand, I currently work as an HR person in my place of work.
Okay.
I hire a staff and I send you to a particular location to work. So what should be why are you going to be more concerned about your boss or your line manager? You only come to work when you are supposed to come to work. You do your work. At the end of the day, you close at the appropriate time, you go. If you do your work at the end of the month, you pay your salary. How your boss is doing like this, your boss treating me like this, how is it that your boss is not really fine? How is that your concern? You leave your boss for the company. Not for
HR.
you to be not. Yes, I'm with you.
HR, sir. I'll ask a direct question from a personal experience.
Okay.
HR, I need a computer to work, right?
Okay.
My
Yes.
department, my duty, my role specifies I
Yes.
need a computer for maximum output. And a
Yes.
computer is not provided for me by my boss. At that point,
Okay.
what would you expect me to do?
Before you start work, you make sure all your work tools are available. If you need to work with a computer and the computer is not there, so why are you coming?
Wait, hold on. There might have been a computer and then the computer went bad and it has not been replaced since then.
I think most organizations have structures, and there's what we call division of labor and department.
Good,
There's
good.
a particular department in charge of the IT that
Yeah.
will provide you your work tools.
Exactly,
There must
exactly.
there must be work tools. It's not your manager. Your manager is not the IT department.
Okay.
Your work is just to lay your
But
complaint to the manager. Your manager will follow up.
then, I think we've talked about hierarchy here on the Sunny side as well. But then
Yes.
hierarchy will determine that if I need something, the person I should be talking to is my
Is your
line
manager.
manager. Exactly.
Correct.
My line
Correct.
manager reaches to IT. It is not in my place to reach to IT when I have a line manager.
Correct. You're correct.
And when
You're
my
correct.
line manager is not doing what I'm supposed to do, it affects my
Yes, correct.
productivity.
You escalate it.
Escalated.
It's really you want to work. You're following up on your line manager. It's not doing anything. Then you have the HR now. Talk to
Okay.
the HR.
Escalate. All right.
Yes,
But
escalate.
but escalating it could make you look like a bad person before this your line manager that is nonchalant and is not doing his own job.
But when we want to appraise you, when we want to do performance appraisal, we will not ask your line manager will not be there. We'll be looking at your impact.
Impact. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. You've spoken as HR. Thank
You'll be
you.
looking at your impact, and your line manager may not be there.
Okay. All
Your
right.
line manager may even deny you. Your line manager may even deny, but you didn't say her anything.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. You see how it's easy for HR to say some of these things? Well, in theory and in practice, they are two different things altogether. This one says, good afternoon, Denise. The attitude, what's happening to my screen? I have alternatives because neither network nor weather nor whatever is going to disrupt my flow today. Okay, I think it's back on. Good afternoon, Denise. The attitude of my boss goes a long way in determining my input in my workplace. If my boss is the strict type, I will in turn become strict too, unbeknown to him. I have a boss who, to an extent, has incorporated me into his family, and I reciprocate that gesture as well. I pick his calls even when I don't want to pick calls. As a matter of fact, I excluded his lines and that of my wife from my do not disturb. That's when my phone is on do not disturb. My wife and my boss are the people that will call me and my phone will ring out. He has time without number, called me during odd hours to rush down to his house, at times 9 p.m., and I'll always rush down to meet him. If the otherwise was the case, I would not pick his calls during odd hours, and if I mistakenly do and he demands for my presence, I will tell him that my son just swallowed a spoon or even knife. Just one serious excuse or the other not to be with him. But thank God I have a kind boss. He's the only boss that you will tell you have a job interview to attend while still working with him, and he will gladly allow you to attend. I am really proud of him. I don't know beyond Yekachi Casey. Every employee's dream. Briggs TSF, have friends, but work with the skilled and competent. The workspace or job space isn't an environment for socialization. Job descriptions are given and tasks are assigned. Do your job as an employee. Good afternoon, Didi. For me, I can choose my job and manage my boss. I have a choice of my job, not my boss. Jimmy sent that in. Ernest from Urgi says, Lord, in Nigeria, bosses see themselves as presidents. Many Nigerian bosses are rude, insane climbs. Bosses even take their staff out, not because they like them so much, but they just want them to feel good and clear their head. They make sure they treat their workers as human beings. But here, one, you are a boss, you see yourself as king and your workers as subjects. Hello, Black Africa. Is there white Africa? Daniata says, yes, the nature and attitude of my boss determines how and when I can perform my duty effectively. Your boss can make you or mar you. However, your resilient spirit makes you not to allow your boss frustrate you. Also, you can do well if you ignore his or her despicable attitude towards you. We're going to commercial break, and when we come back, I take your final thoughts, and that will be all for this conversation. It's still the sunny side on Nigeria Info, your boss versus your job.
For more talk, news and sports, stay tuned to Nigeria.